Poor versus Rich. The Two Worlds. A documentary on wealth and inequality. One planet, two realities. There are two worlds that exist side by side on the same planet. In one world, children go to bed hungry, families live in makeshift shelters, and a single illness can destroy a lifetime of savings. In the other world, private jets crisscross the sky, luxury penthouses overlook the city, and wealth accumulates faster than it can ever be spent. These two worlds are not separated by oceans or borders. They exist in the same cities, the same countries, the same human family. The gap between the rich and the poor is one of the defining realities of our time. And it is growing wider every single day. Where you are born determines more about your future than almost anything else. If you are born into a wealthy family in a wealthy nation, your life expectancy is longer, your education is better, and your opportunities are vastly greater. If you are born into poverty in a developing nation, the odds are stacked against you from the very beginning. You are more likely to suffer from malnutrition, less likely to complete school, and far more likely to remain poor throughout your life. This is the lottery of birth. It is not fair. It is not just. But it is the reality for billions of people around the world. Poverty is not just a lack of money. It is a web of invisible walls that keep people trapped. Poor communities often lack access to quality education, reliable healthcare, and safe housing. They face discrimination in the job market and the justice system. They are charged higher interest rates for loans and pay more for basic services. These barriers are not accidents. They are built into the structure of society. They perpetuate poverty from one generation to the next. The rich, meanwhile, benefit from a system that favors those who already have wealth. They have access to better schools, better lawyers, better opportunities. The invisible walls that keep the poor out are the same walls that keep the rich in. The statistics paint a stark picture. The world's 26 richest people now own as much wealth as the poorest 3.8 billion people. That is half of humanity. In the United States, the top 10% of earners take home nearly half of all national income. The bottom 50% earn just 13%. Globally, the richest 10% account for 52% of all carbon emissions, while the poorest 50% account for just 7%. These numbers are not natural. They are the result of policies, tax systems, and economic structures that have been designed over centuries to concentrate wealth at the top. The data does not lie. Inequality is not a side effect of capitalism. It is a feature of the system. Walk through any major city and you will see the two worlds side by side. In one neighborhood, gleaming skyscrapers rise above private clubs and designer boutiques. In another, overcrowded tenements house families in rooms without windows. In one world, children attend schools with state-of-the-art facilities and unlimited resources. In the other, children share one textbook among 30 and pray for a meal. The rich and the poor do not live in separate countries. They live in the same cities, breathe the same air, walk the same streets. But they experience completely different realities. One world is filled with opportunity and abundance. The other is filled with struggle and scarcity. And the distance between them is measured in just a few subway stops. Wealth has a powerful tendency to create more wealth. When you have money, you can invest it. You can buy property that appreciates in value. You can put it in the stock market and watch it grow. You can pass it down to your children, giving them a head start in life. This is the wealth machine. It is a virtuous cycle for those who are already rich. But for those who are poor, the opposite is true. Without money, you cannot invest. You cannot build assets. You cannot escape the cycle of poverty. The wealth machine is not neutral. It is designed to reward those who already have resources and to punish those who do not. The gap between rich and poor is not just about income. It is about the power of wealth to compound itself over time. Inequality is not just an economic issue. It is a human issue. It affects our health, our happiness, and our sense of dignity. Studies show that people living in poverty experience higher rates of stress, anxiety, and depression. They have shorter life expectancies and higher rates of chronic disease. Inequality also erodes the social fabric of our communities. When the gap between rich and poor is wide, trust declines, crime increases, and social cohesion breaks down. We all pay the price for inequality, whether we are rich or poor. The human cost of inequality is measured in lost potential, broken dreams, and lives cut short. And it is a cost that we simply cannot afford to keep paying. But here is the good news. Inequality is not inevitable. It is the result of choices that human beings have made, and human beings can make different choices. Throughout history, we have seen that when societies decide to invest in education, healthcare, and social safety nets, they can lift millions of people out of poverty. When we choose progressive taxation, fair wages, and equal opportunity, we can narrow the gap between rich and poor. The future is not written. We have the power to shape it. We can build a world where everyone has a fair shot at a decent life. It will not be easy. But it is possible. And it starts with understanding the world as it is and imagining the world as it could be. The divide between rich and poor is not inevitable. Understanding it is the first step toward change. Thank you for watching.